Hi, thanks for joining me today. It's Froggy Friday! Today I am making a very special lava froggy, and this is in honor of Karen from the Dragon's Cave. She's one of the original founders of the Froggy Friday collaboration, and she tends to set things on fire. Not on purpose, but you know, resin can be dangerous, and it's sort of a running joke. So this is for you, Karen. I hope you like my lava froggy. Froggy needs some red eyes to go with his lava, so that's what I'm doing now. These are just 8mm eyes I got from Temu, and I attach them with UV resin. You can see there I'm looking at it, and I end up popping it out because I put it in like a googly eye. I guess this is just what I do, so I need to double check my work from now on. Froggy Friday is a weekly amphibian collaboration hosted by several amazing channels. As always, the playlist will be in my description. Don't forget to check out the other videos. After the second eye is flash cured in the proper place, he goes under the lamp for a full 2 minutes to cure both eyes. And this is the UV resin I use from Counterculture DIY. I love it. I highly recommend it. The first layer I pour is clear resin, and I am reusing a cup as I always do. This clear layer is going to be what I'm going to draw the lava on. And so at first I didn't want it to go into the arms and legs, but then I thought about it and realized I kind of wanted it to so that I had a larger surface area to work with. Once that's all set, it'll go in the curing machine for a couple of hours. Now it's time for the lava layer, and I'm drawing on what are supposed to be hardened basalt rocks. So I'll show you a picture I grabbed from Google here. This is kind of what I'm going for. It ended up being kind of difficult to draw these properly under the legs and in the head area because of the mold coming over the top. I managed it, but when I was coloring it in, I had to actually be careful on my second layer of paint because the angle is super weird and it wanted to actually take the paint off altogether. So kind of a pain in the ass, but it was fine. I decided to leave in the clip of me coloring it in because frankly, it looks pretty satisfying to me. Once both layers are nice and dry, I'm going on to the next step of coloring in, which is going to be the lava area. The idea here is the lava area is going to glow. And in order to make it glow, I'm going to pour a layer that has some glow-in-the-dark powder in it. This powder, while it's called lava red, actually pulls more pink. So I know I need to put some orange, some red, maybe even some yellow in here so that I can kind of counteract that. I really wish you were there to tell me that putting opaque acrylic paint down was not going to work. I have no idea what was going on in my head, but it was not braining that day. It was sort of at this moment that I realized, I don't know if this is going to work. I kept going with the alcohol ink around it just to see if there was any chance I could salvage this, but I end up having to take it off. Hey, look at my head. Get used to it, because it's sticking around. After I flip this over, I realize, yeah, the yellow really isn't going to work. And also, if you look at that picture, I really need to be putting sort of a red right at the rock area. So I do end up taking a pointy Q-tip and spending about a year taking off this acrylic paint. And then I go back through and just use the orange alcohol ink marker, and then I do the red alcohol ink marker around the rocks. If I had this to do again, I think what I would do is actually lay down all of the orange first. Then I would draw the rocks on there with the acrylic ink, let that dry, and then I would go back through with the red around the rocks. I think that would have been much easier. I need to keep that technique in mind because I'm pretty sure I want to make a tumbler that looks like it has lava on it. So maybe you'll see that in a future video. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see me work on. My oldest daughter came over to take a look at what I was doing and wanted to say hi. There's her hand. It's important to stay hydrated while you're crafting. Hey look, that's my true crime in crafting tumbler. If you haven't watched that video, I'll link it up above. Make sure you go watch it. That was a fun one. Now it's time for the glow in the dark layer, and this is the lava red glow powder I'm using from designer Epoxy. I really like their glow powders. Unfortunately, they only have, I think, 3 colors now. I think there's 2 greens and a blue, but their glow powder is really fine, and so it mixes in really well. Do you still have to stir the crap out of it? Of course. Anytime you're putting in mica powder or powder of any kind into your resin, it's going to want to clump, but it's much nicer than a lot of the other glow powders out there. Even after all that mixing, it still wasn't fully mixed in. I will say this did something weird when it cured. It has these little white spots around it. I don't really know what that is. Fortunately, you're going to be looking at the frog from the top, so it's not going to be something you can see. I'm going in with my final layer of resin, and I'm using coral colored resin dye. Any resin dye would work. If you don't have coral, you can do red and orange. Once I get that poured, I'll put some alcohol onto it, and it will go in my curing machine for a few hours, and it will be time to demold. It's time to get this guy unmolded, and I can see those little dots that I saw earlier. You're going to find out here in a second what those actually are. I also stained the mold with the alcohol ink. So there he is. He looks really cool, except that those little white dots were actually parts where the paint came off. I really don't understand how that happened, but I'm not too pleased. It still looks cool, but it would have looked way cooler without those. Froggy kiss. Lava frog is all done. I'm really sad about those missing spots of paint, but I think all in all, this looks really cool. I really like the way this turned out. He definitely looks like he's got some lava going on, and I just need to figure out a way to make sure the paint doesn't do that again if I do this on a tumbler. I actually think this frog looks way better in regular light than glowing, and you'll see why. Look at that one. He really looks like he's on fire. This frog. Is on fire. Sorry. I had to. Lava frog definitely glows, but it looks pink despite my best efforts. I'm gonna have to think about this one. I think this frog really shines in regular light. Time to hop along and watch those other videos now. Thanks for hopping by. I'll see you soon.